Today's episode of The Walk Show is brought to you in part by Jam Spots. Established in 1989, that's over 30 years, Jam Spots has provided safe and accessible spaces for musicians to create and collaborate. They have hourly, weekly, and monthly rentals to suit your needs. And here's the thing, these rooms rent out at artist-friendly rates. Cause let's face it, we can't all be John Bon Jovi. The best part about Jam Spots is its rich history in the Guelph music scene. It truly is a big part of the local scene and even has a music community within itself. And I should know, almost every band I've ever been a part of has had a room with Jam Spots. That's a ton of rehearsals, photo shoots, and even a music video we shot there with A Rise and Ruin. If you're looking for a space within our music community, check out jamspots.com. That's JAMSPOTS.com. Jam Spots. Make some noise! Howdy, folks. Welcome to The Walk Show, podcasting on all major platforms and broadcasting on Hypernova Radio. Thank you for listening. Be sure to follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, X, and Blue Sky. And if you want to support the show with your dollars, you can subscribe over on Patreon for $5 a month. I'm Derek Prince-Cox, and I hope you're all keeping well. Episode 200, everybody. It's hard to believe, but the show made it to 200 episodes, and I owe you all my endless appreciation. Thank you for your support. Whether you're new to the show or you've been listening for years, you make this show happen. I've said it a million times. If nobody listened to my music, I'd still definitely play, but doing a podcast with no listeners would be pointless. So I could not do this without you. The show started in December of 2017, and it typically came out twice a month for most of the show's tenure. It didn't go weekly until I linked up with Hypernova Radio back in December of last year. And if I'm being honest, it's still taking everything I have to keep up with the schedule while balancing my business and just life in general, but I'm going to keep it up as long as I can. Shout out to Chris at Hypernova. And just to be pedantic, I actually put out 4 episodes a month, which isn't necessarily a weekly show. There will be a couple of months where I don't air new episodes every week. And on those weeks, I'm just going to be airing episodes from the archive on Hypernova and taking some much needed time off from the other platforms. I reached out to you on the Walk Show socials to ask you what your favorite Canadian band or artist is. And here's what you had to say.
Now it's time to check that mail. I'm gonna check that mail good. Yeah, check that mail.
From Alex Johnston of Baptized in Blood. Hey, broski. Alex says, hard tie between the Full Blast and Misery Signals. From Daisy St. Patience. Howdy. Daisy says, it's very hard to pick. My stats.fm says it's Godspeed You Black Emperor. From Jeff Phillips of Thine Eyes Bleed, Curse of Karoo, and my Faith No More tribute band Angel Dust. Hey, brother. Jeff says, Gorguts or Martyr from me. He also says, Voivod. From Ruth Prentice, howdy. Ruth says, Big Wreck. From Paul Grunberg, hello, sir. Paul says, forever the hip. From Mark Ippersill of Slugs of Mars, hey, dude. Mark says, Rush. From Sean Pearson, my Mike Patton in the Faith No More tribute, hey, bro. Sean says, Cancer Bats for life. From Tyler Klompenhauser of Sadco, hey, man. Tyler says, The Gorgeous, duh. And yeah, if you're new to the show, Tyler writes in all the time to talk about The Gorgeous. Like every chance he gets. He ain't lying. From Will Noseworthy of Band Boost. Hey, dude. Will says, Mandroid Echo Star. Devin Townsend and Rush and the Hip are cool too, I guess. Yeah, love the droid shout out, dude. From Sarah Sunshine Meredith. Hey, Sarah. Sarah says, Harmonies. Yes, they are fantastic. And I have had the pleasure of playing shows with them a couple of times now, and they're also fantastic dudes. From Daniel Ennis of Future Proof Visuals. Hey, dude. Daniel says, Royal Canoe. From Cody James McDusa of Grody Bedroom Session Studios. Hey, man. Yeah, say that 5 times fast. Cody says, Ricky Mullen. From Craig Andrew. Hey, dude. Craig says, Comeback Kid, Cancer Bats, Teeth, and Trench. All sick. Too hard to pick a favorite. And from Panda City. Howdy. They say, Hormones. Wow. Lots of great submissions, people. As for me, I'm just going to drop a list of some of my favorites because I can never narrow it down. But I'm going to go with Change of Heart, Rusty, A Textbook Tragedy, The Tragically Hip, Ion Dissonance, and a couple of current bands would be Econoline Crush and Harmonies. Shout out to my bro Troy Zach of Econoline. As always, thank you so much for your participation. If you aren't writing in and you want to get in on the action, when you see a listener question pop up on the Walk Show socials, leave your answer in the comments or email them to thewalkshow@gmail.com. On that note, let's do today's Double Feature Preacher.
The Double Feature Preacher is brought to you by Planet Bean Coffee.
Woo, that is a tasty f***ing brew.
And by The Walk Show.
Today's music feature is Welcome to Graceland by Guelph's own Vida. Full disclosure, Vida is one of my favorite bands these days, so anything I say about them will be heavily biased towards them. They're just one of those bands that hits every nail on the head. They're creative without being pretentious, they bring the heat while still knowing how to effectively utilize dynamics, and they write good songs without breaking out the cookie cutter. If you haven't heard Vida, I highly recommend them in case you didn't notice. You can support Vida by checking out vidaband.bandcamp.com and be sure to give them a follow on the socials. Today's Planet Bean feature is their Chatty Matty blend. This is a lighter blend with hints of nuts and caramel. I used to be a strictly dark roast guy, but as you get into higher quality coffee, you realize that the subtlety of a lighter roast can be just as enjoyable. Chatty Matty is a classic example of this. I still don't have the palate of a true coffee aficionado, but Planet Bean's amazing coffees are definitely pointing me in the right direction. Planet Bean Coffee is Guelph's coffee company, having roasted fair trade and organic coffee since 1997. Check out what they're up to, get a list of locations and a list of vendors at planetbeancoffee.com. Most importantly, support Planet Bean with your dollars. You'll be glad you did. Oh, and when you do, if you want to help out the Walk Show, please let them know that I sent you.
Stick around to the end of the podcast to hear the full song from today's Double Feature Preacher artist.
For this episode, I was able to catch up with an absolute legend in the Canadian heavy music scene and an old friend, Mr. Mike Froh. Mike fronted the Holly Springs Disaster. He was also the man behind Dear Solace and currently heads up Mike Froh and the Bad News. Mike is such a good dude, and I'm so glad he made some time to be a part of a milestone episode. We had a great chat, and I hope you dig it. So let's get into it. And we are rolling here today with the mighty Mike Froh. Dude.
How's it going, brother?
It is good, man. Thank you so much for making time for the show.
Hell yeah. I'm stoked. Yesterday I did some driving, so I had to listen to your Alex from Baptized was on it.
Yep.
And that was where I found out that they have a new music coming. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? So that was exciting. Thank you for having him on and then exposing me to that beautiful news.
Oh, dude, it is beautiful news, man. And it's, I hope I'm allowed to say this on the air. He showed me some of it. Obviously, I couldn't play it because it's well before time. But holy hell, man. I mean, if you loved them before, you're going to still love them. That's for damn sure.
Oh, I hope they at least play one gig for it. At least one. They need to do more than that. They should play lots of shows.
Dude, that's one band. Yeah, like I feel like, although, we were just talking off air about being the old guys, but it's that whole nostalgia vibe where like, man, I want all the old bands back together. I want Holy Springs back together. I want Baptized back together. I want Straight Reeds back together.
Get them all back together.
Yeah, let's go.
Get them all back together. Let's do a full tour of all the bands back together. Arise and Ruin will be on it. Who else could we put? I mean, the funny thing is that you probably like. I was just talking with the guys from Sydney. Remember that band?
Oh shit, yeah.
And like, I don't know if anything's gonna happen or whatever. But even like, so many of us crave that still. But it's like bridging that gap of doing the old music again. And there's a lot of personalities involved in a lot of those situations. So getting 5 guys to agree on something in their late 30s, early 40s. Tough.
It was hard in our 20s, man, let alone now. Now we're just crustier and more
set in our ways.
Yeah, more old man yells at cloud. And it's...
Speaking of being the old man yelling at clouds, so at the show that I was talking about, I'm searching for a pen. I'm searching for a pen because a photographer wanted to get me the footage or something it was a video guy wanted to get me the footage, and I spent like 5 minutes looking for a pen before he like grabbed me by the shoulder and he's like, "Do you have your phone?" I'm like, yeah. And he's like, "How about you just email me right now? Like, I'll type in my email, you email me, and then I have it." And I'm like, oh my God.
Dude, it's amazing. It's like, no, just get the pen and the piece of paper, and then I'm going to need to write on your back. I need a surface. Yeah.
And I couldn't believe that it also dawned on me, like everything that I was doing wrong on that little run of shows being like, oh, cash only. Like you can't do cash only at merch anymore. Everyone expects you to have your debit machine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I got to get a debit machine now. And then I realized I can also just do that on my phone.
Can you? Because I spent money on that Square thing. I turns out I didn't need it.
Well, okay. This upcoming batch of dates will be the first time I actually use it at a show. But currently, I've done some little test purchases, like with my own debit card on it, and it works.
Oh, okay.
My wifey was telling me the same thing. She was like, "I don't think it's going to work without the little tap thing." She's a hairdresser and she has one herself. And I was like, okay, but I swear to God, I see bands like Calling All Captains. I swear they were just doing it on their phone last year. So I'll let you know in like 3 weeks if it actually works.
Yeah. Well, shit, that would be handy. Although I already went out and bought the bloody Square thing. So,
I mean, yeah, you're kind of, you got more. I think the better thing about those terminals too is like, or the little Square thing. There's something about it's like the tap to pay function on your phone that allows it. And sometimes it asks for people's PIN and it doesn't work that way or some shit. I don't know. Again, talking about something I haven't done, just going to experiment with here.
Yeah, totally, man. It's the whole cashless thing does kind of freak me out, man. Cause it's, I don't know, not that I'm one of those conspiratorial nut jobs or anything, but like it should be an option. No?
Yeah, I'm with you there. I just had that conversation at the vape store with a heavy conspiracy theory gentleman.
Okay.
And he's certain we're going to be a cashless society and they're going to turn off and because I got the vaccine, I'm going to get turned off when my bank account gets turned off. I'm like, whoa. Relax.
Dude, I mean, sometimes I wish my life were that entertaining, man. We're like, It's got to be. I mean, it's got to be scary if you're one of those dudes. And I don't mean to throw a ton of shade because I know people all over the socio-political spectrum, let's say. But
yeah, me too.
But man, it's got to be a lot of drama, but also very entertaining to be one of those dudes. Like, what if everyone's out to get
A wild
you all
ride.
the time? Like, damn, that's a lot of people thinking about you, man.
And maybe it is just that main character syndrome coming out with a little bit of whatever else with it.
Yeah, dude, I gotta fall on the sword a little bit here. When that main character syndrome saying kind of got tossed around the internet, I did feel a little bit personally attacked. I am an only child. I've always been very goal oriented, and like I feel like I've tried really hard not to be the stereotypical only child, but I'd be lying if, I wasn't a little self-centered at times, man. I mean, jumping out on tour all those years, missing birthdays and anniversaries and all the things, it's...
Brother.
Yeah.
I feel this so much. I'm not an only child, but my father was, and I inherited so many of his traits of that. The missing birthdays thing. It didn't bother me at all either when I was young. Like, it didn't bother me. But now looking back on it, it bothers me. It's something that I think a little bit of age and wisdom starts to sink in. Like, or the big one for me is I wasn't home to help my mom move from her house into her condo.
Okay.
And it was no skin off my back at that point because I think it was right around the time of like Holly Springs. I think it was right when we did that big reunion run and they were all sold out shows. And I was just kind of like, well, this is obviously more important. And now I'm like, oh my God, there's a way to make things work. If you're doing a big gas tour and stuff is selling out, you could probably get some wiggle room and push the tour just a little bit or something. Find a way to help your mom. Come on, Mike.
Oh, dude, I hear you, man. I mean, my big one was one of my dogs. The family dogs. I was there when we put one of them down. But the other one, I was in Quebec.
Yeah.
Playing with. Do you remember the band Neuraxis? Back in the day, it was like a Quebec death metal band. So fucking good.
Yes.
We were playing, in Quebec on Saint Jean le Baptiste Day. And my dog got put down, and man, I felt so fucking guilty. I kind of still do a little bit, but like, you can't. Yeah. I don't know. You gotta kind of understand the way things were then, because we were betting it all on black,
Oh yeah, all in. That one's. I think the pet thing is actually for me too. That was the toughest, like being away for something and also being home for something. Like I just had to put down my he was like 8 years old. He was young, Boston Terrier. And he found a way. He was really sick and I knew he was sick, but then he like held on until after, like I had a big show in Regina it was the first show I've promoted in years. And he was like, he wanted to stay alive for that. And then it was like 3 days afterwards, he passed. And it was like before I had to leave and go on a little tour. And I was like, he's so smart that he knew he needed to pass. And I was like, fuck. I was feeling really guilty leaving my sick dog behind and the 1-year-old, all of that on the wifey, And then he like a true dog does. He bowed out when he had to, and dude, that was the toughest. Like, loss is crazy and loss with a human is crazy, but that loss with your dog, it might be the one that hits the heart the hardest.
Dude, I am dreading that, man. Like, I have a boxer Springer Spaniel who's going to be 10 this year. So he's still he's not old, but he does have this GI disease. And it's like, other than that, he's perfectly healthy. And it's just been such a bitch, man. I mean, we literally took out like a home equity line of credit on the fucking house so we could keep him going, bills. Man. And, at the time, you're just like, take my money, just, fix this guy.
Yep.
But holy hell, man.
I'm still paying off of that bill.
It's crazy. Did you ever get the insurance or?
But the love. Man, I didn't do the insurance thing.
Me neither.
I'm a bad guy.
No, I think it's a lot of it's bullshit, I think.
Well, that's kind of how I felt about it too. I grew up pretty much on the farm too, so it was like the idea of vet bills and all this stuff is something that's like new for me as this generation of pet owner in my family. My mom was pretty good with the vet and stuff like that, but like it's just the lengths that you'll go for your pets it's crazy.
It truly is, man. It's I haven't been shy in talking about it. I think we're up in the neighborhood of like 30 grand, and that's just for this GI disease, because before it was diagnosed, you're just racing him to the emergency time and time again. It was sometimes every day for the first little while, and like every time you set foot in there, it's like $1,000, just to keep him not dead. Like we're not even getting anywhere. We're just keeping him not dead. So,
oh man, it's what a hustle. My kid wants to know what to be for a living. I'm going to say be a vet.
Yeah, and in Ontario, man, because I think the rules are different provincially, and I'm pretty sure Ontario, it's kind of like the Wild West, from what I understand.
Yeah, I like when I was living out there is when I got Bronson, my dog, and getting him like fixed and everything out there. I was, because I had cats in Saskatchewan, and my sister had dogs, so I'd seen kind of the pricing and things. You guys are living in a different world out there with what vets are able to charge. I mean, it's still expensive as hell here, but it's crazy out there. Yeah.
From what I understand, like different provinces will step in and go like, whoa, you can't fucking just name your price. Like there has to be some kind of control.
It's like a dentist though too. They just name their price.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny too, because like if you have health insurance, I mean, I haven't had a full-time job in over a year, so I don't anymore. But when I did, I feel like they'd be like, "Oh, you got insurance, eh? Well, we'll jack it up a little bit." Like,
they would. I had a dentist in Toronto that like, I won't name her name because she was a lovely dentist and it was kind of badass, but she literally charged me different. Like I had health insurance and then I got laid off from that job. And I told her I don't have insurance anymore. And she was like, oh, okay. So now I'm going to charge you. And she charged it was like half of what she charged me before because she knew I was paying for all of it. It's pretty badass of her, actually.
I mean, it is, or you can think of it the other way where it's like, wait a minute, you can still keep your lights on charging this, but you're, like, come on, man, what gives?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess they're just kind of milking the system, right? Like the insurance system. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this shit.
Yeah, we're going to have it.
Are you still in Guelph? Are you in Guelph?
Yeah, man.
Fuck. Yeah. So, that's where like my 7-year-old daughter lives now.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. That's where my ex-wife and my kid live. So we'll have to hang out the next time that I come out that way. Cause it used to be Orangeville. God.
Yeah.
That's a tough town to visit. I love Orangeville. It's great, but for some reason they consider themselves like cottage country.
I know. It has that vibe, or at least the people kind of have that air to them. But it's still
and so do the hotel prices.
Oh yeah,
it was like absurd. Like flights are expensive, but I would spend like 3 times the money just on hotels spending time in Orangeville. It's nuts. Like $250 a night for just normal room.
Yeah, that's brutal. And there's really nothing. And I'm not trying to throw shade at any of you Orangevillians, but
hey, we love you, Orangeville. We love you.
Yeah. But I mean, come on, get your hotels in order for Christ,
Yeah. I remember having a discussion with someone about that, and they're like, well, like it's because of what are they, like the Mono Cliffs and if you go down to the Bell Mountain, blah blah blah. Like they're naming all these beautiful spots. They are beautiful, but in my head, I'm like, no one's driving across Canada to see the hill.
Yeah,
like.
Dude,
I mean, I'm from Saskatchewan, so I get it. nobody's driving here to really see anything. Unless you're into like beautiful sunsets and wide open spaces.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, if there was somebody who was going to travel the country in search of a hill, it might be somebody from Saskatchewan, right?
Exactly.
So you know.
And it's awe-inspiring when you find that truly beautiful big hill.
Dude,
mountain? Oh my God.
I'll never forget my first West Coast tour, man. Was just like going through the prairies and you could see the Calgary skyline like 8 hours before you got there, man. It was wild.
Yep. And same with like, you'll see Calgary off in the distance. It'll be freaking forever before you get there. And then you see the mountains too. And you're like, wait, are we that close to the mountains? And no, it's just that flat before the mountains. You still have like an hour and a half drive until you hit them. It's crazy.
It is crazy. It's
what band was that in when you came like out west the first time? Was that Arise and Ruin?
No, so before that band we had a band called Pure Blank that was almost all of us except our singer was different.
I knew that. I did know that. And was it more like punky or techie or something like that? And less
a little techier. It was a little because we didn't really have any rules and we formed sort of at the tail end of new metal and sort of the upcomings of like metalcore, like Poison the Well and Living Sacrifice and, you know, that kind of stuff. So we were sort of just, I don't know. I'm sure you remember those times, but it was such an interesting time for music that like, you know, everything hadn't been totally compartmentalized yet. So we were just sort of this like blah, you know, whatever. You know, the old cliche, we like put all your influences into a blender. Like we were one of those kind of bands. Yeah. But it was a little bit new metal, you know, a little bit Poison the Well and Early Unearth, a little bit Burnt by the Sun. Like,
let's go.
Yeah, man.
Let's go. Dude, Poison the Well was like, I saw AFI and Poison the Well. I think I was in grade 11 or something like that. I was very much into punk. A little bit into like what I'd heard of the screamo stuff that had started coming out around that time too. But then I saw Poison the Well live and I was just like, oh, this is what I like. They completely flipped it for me where it's like, for a while, it's like if they weren't, I compared everything to Poison the Well. It was like, and then what was the other band you just mentioned? Dude, Unearth. I get to fucking open for those guys in like a month.
I saw that, dude. That's amazing.
I saw the show announcement with like Saskatoon. Step Kid Events is the guys putting it on. Vince, he's friggin' awesome. And I just jumped in the DMs immediately. I was like, support. If you need support it. We'll support it. We'll open it. We'll whatever. I want to play with Unearth. That's one of those bands I always like never got to play with, but always wanted to play with.
Dude, that rules, man. And like, I feel like that new lineup, I haven't seen them since, well, definitely since Ken left, but
me neither.
But I think Mike, Justin is back in the band, if I'm saying his last name right. But the guy that did like Oncoming Storm and
I think you're right. I was just checking out their Wikipedia recently and like, because I'm the same way. I haven't actually been following the way I probably should have since Ken left. But like, have they put out a bunch of records in that time frame?
I think they put out one. And I think it might have been right after Ken left. And I mean, I only really ever kept tabs with Ken because we'd worked with him on some albums with Arise. But like,
did you?
Yeah. We did like the EP and the first full length with him. And,
so he produced it and mixed it and like, no shit.
Yeah. So we went down to Grafton, Massachusetts. And those were the days of like, everything getting sample replaced and, you know, triggered and whatnot. True. So I basically went down to Grafton one of the times to record cymbals. And that was pretty much it, man.
Dude, I watched a really crazy band that I won't name because I don't think they want this out there. But that they recorded their drums like piece by piece.
Yeah.
They literally did cymbals and then I want to say he did snare alone and kick alone. The music's crazy. It's one of the craziest bands from Regina. I might have just thrown him under the bus there. But watching a drummer do, and he was a capable drummer.
Right.
It was his perfectionist, I think. It was either him or the producer's perfectionism. They were like, no, I don't want any bleed.
Yeah, and I get that. Like, I mean, I personally, I like bleed because, I mean, overheads are overheads, not cymbal mics, right? But I mean,
Yeah.
I understand that school of thought, particularly with that modern style of production.
Yes.
But I mean, at that point, like, and, you know, I was ashamed of this for so many years, but I programmed the first Arise album. In retrospect, I'm kind of proud because it was a lot of work, man. It might have been more work than just going and recording it, and I could play the
100%.
stuff live.
Yeah.
But it was that, you know, that big metalcore sound where they wanted those drums that sounded like they were from a fucking Duran Duran album, you know, and that's how you got it.
The amount of records coming out right now with fully programmed drums that people have no idea it's fully programmed, it's kind of wild. A buddy of mine is, he's an incredible drummer, but he just chooses, kind of like you were saying, he chooses to program them because I think being a drummer from home, one thing, got kids, can't make the noise the same way, or whatever situation you're in, you can't make the same noise that you could in your, and then go into your jam space, you don't have your studio set up there. A lot of us have our home studios, so like, yeah, he's a completely capable drummer. I think he did actually just go in and record some drums live. But I sang on his album. I had no idea that they were programmed drums until he told me.
Well, I mean, they're really convincing now. I would say like the sample banks are very good now. Same with like the floorboard guitar units, like the Line 6 Helix. A lot of the guys I play with now play with those because you can put them in a backpack and get on a flight, you know?
Yeah. My whole group we're all Helixes, I think. I'm stupid sometimes with the gear names. Yeah, they're all on the Helix thingies. Or Quad Cortex, maybe?
Oh, yeah, those are sweet.
It might be that. I've got gear heads in the band because I like my studio stuff and I like some things, but when it gets down to the like guitar gear or drum gear, I've never been a gear guy. Always been a Squire guy, you know, just give me something to noodle on because it's about writing for me.
Yeah.
But holy crap, being around people that are gearheads is eye-opening.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think I'm sort of like a 1 foot in, 1 foot out guy because I do love gear and I can talk about it for a long time. But I'm also in your camp where I'm just like, my favorite guitar that I own is probably like it's a Blacktop Telecaster, which is just a Mexican Telecaster with humbuckers. Yep. And there are some shredders I know that are like, it's like or USA shop or custom shop or whatever. But I'm not good enough to know the difference. Like I got like little hobbit hands and like they don't know. They just know like, you know.
I got hobbit hands too.
Hobbit hands unite, dude.
Hell
like,
yeah.
If the sounds coming out of the friggin' rig are cool, then, you know, cool. My ear is picky, but my digits are not.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I don't want to be paying off Long McQuaid month to month for the rest of my life, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, the amount of money. I hate that they can tell you how much money you've spent there.
I know. I got like a $50 off gift card at the beginning of the year where they're just like, dude, yeah, like on your next purchase, just $50
I got
off.
one out there.
Yeah.
I got like, one out sitting right outside the store.
They don't just give anybody $50. They probably just take pity on us, man. They're like, oh my God, that Michael Froh and he spent like $500,000 here in the last quarter, you know? Like,
oh my God. My guitar player and the guy who like owns the studio that we all record out of, he probably has a tab like that there. He's a freaking madman.
Yeah.
Like you talk about something and then he'll send you a YouTube video of it later because he's like, oh, checked it out. And you'll come back a week later and he has it. He's like, I want it. I got it. And like, it's crazy. People like that. He's got a great little situation because we've got a beautiful studio. He runs a company, but he's able to kind of do it from home now, which is now his second home is just being at the studio all day.
That's awesome.
Oh, he's such a good guy. Thank God. Or I'd be just insanely jealous of him, you know?
Well, I feel like the pandemic kind of taught us that taught us a lot of things, but I think one of which was like, dude, not everything needs to be like brick and mortar, punch in the clock. We can do a lot of things remotely, especially in the age of the internet. But also it taught us that, like, I mean, I don't know about you, but I had like a cushy office job. I got laid off after 17 years with no severance. So it's just like, why wouldn't I be doing what I love instead of hanging on to this thing that's just going to kick my ass to the curb anyway,
Pandemic is what got me back into music, for sure. Like I kind of checked out for a bit, and then the pandemic happened and started writing at home by myself again. Dude, I didn't have the cushy job or anything. I had just finished going to college to become like a nurse's aide, basically. But then the pandemic hit, and I couldn't even get, like, because of the pandemic, I couldn't go to work to start because everyone was, what do they call it? Quarantined to their facility.
Right.
And because I wasn't working in there yet, I didn't go to work for like 4 months straight, but was a frontline worker, and it was fucking maddening. And I was so broke coming out of college,
Yeah, no doubt, man.
But that's where the music came back, and that's where streaming, like I started doing the live streaming, and thank God, because it like fucking paid some of the bills for a bit.
Well, it seems like you're doing the entrepreneur thing as well as you're still in healthcare, right? Like you're kind of dipping a toe in both waters, right?
Definitely dipping them in both waters. Right now, I'm actually finishing up paternity leave. I took 9 months leave with my son because my girl's self-employed, so she doesn't get the same kind of benefits and that. So I've been a stay-at-home dad here for a bit.
Awesome.
Which is, it's amazing. It's the best choice I ever made. I thought I would have so much time to make music though, and it's more writing music I'm able to do because he loves being around, the acoustic guitar or even an electric guitar. But the moment I start trying to sing or get like screamy, it scares the fucking shit out of them. Like so bad. It's so sad. I feel so horrible. So yeah, like I've got a whole bunch of new music coming again, and I was able to get out some music in October. We put out a record. But like I want to lean into the entrepreneur in me a lot more in this upcoming year. Because just getting back out and playing some concerts and stuff, I'm like, ooh, fuck, I got the itch. Like I got that itch. So gotta scratch it.
Well, and it's just one of those things like and I'm sorry, I totally cut you off, dude.
No. But I didn't have anything else to say, I don't think.
Dude, I do that too, man. I think a lot of it comes from trying to fill the dead air from those guests that do give me the one word answers. It sort of just seeps into everyone. So, yeah, man. But I think like Mike Froh on stage, it's just like you're in your natural habitat. I want to like narrate it like Richard Attenborough in National Geographic, just like watch.
I truly feel that way too.
Stalks his prey.
I feel myself again. Like it's wild, dude. Do you know what's crazy? I went before I came back to doing shows here. I guess it'd be 2020, late 2023. I think I played my first show back. The last one was with you.
Yeah, dude. Well, it's funny.
That was the last time I've been on stage.
I was going to bring that up because I was looking through your Instagram highlights, just, coming up with some things to talk about. And I saw highlights from that 5 years gig, man. And I was going to ask you because I forgot, like, when was that?
We'd have to look. God, that's got to be, was it 2019?
Yeah, it must have been.
Or 2017? I'd have to look on the social medias because I rarely delete anything. That was also a crazy night because I hadn't done, like, I think at that point it'd been years since I'd done any Holly Springs music live, and we played at least one.
I think we did two.
Yeah, okay.
Two. And like, I vaguely remember all of this, man, because I do feel like it was a cajillion years ago. But like, wasn't that your first time kind of screaming in a long time? Like you'd been doing a lot of electronic, like EDM stuff.
Yeah, it was. It had been. It's so funny. I'm going through my old Facebook pictures, and there's a picture of me and Skrillex. So I'm in the region of when we did that show together.
Damn.
Because you're right. It was right after I kind of. I was getting into the whole songwriting thing in Toronto and trying to get into those rooms, and I realized very quickly with the EDM stuff, like I like making that kind of music. I still like to make stuff like that, but DJing and like being on stage and in that capacity was not my thing.
No,
too much, at least the shows I did, too much like hard drugs, like people visibly high, or people just like, we're from the metal scene, so I'm used to seeing people like pretty wasted at a show, but seeing people I felt vulnerable at a show, it felt too common in that EDM scene. I think I did like 5 shows and I was just like, fuck this. I'm just going to stay in the studio and do that kind of stuff. And it's not the same when you don't perform. It just truly isn't.
The hard drugs thing kind of scares me, man. It's, because I feel like, you know what? I'm going to cut to the commercial break and I'm going to bring a story back that I think we were both involved in. And it wasn't us doing any hard drugs, kids. So don't worry. But
I think I know where this story's going, though.
Okay. Well, let's see if you're right, man. I'm going to show the English, Derek. I'm going to show the sponsors a little love. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back right after this. Today's episode of The Walk Show is brought to you in part by Rock Sparrow. Rock Sparrow brings artists and brands to life through quality merchandise. They help entrepreneurs, artists, and brands with online merch solutions, taking the guesswork out of merchandising your brand by managing your every need, and all with real people. Speaking of real people, I've known the creators of Rock Sparrow for years, and I can tell you firsthand, these people genuinely care about what they do for their clients and their community. There's even a store there set up for The Walk Show. Check out what they're up to at rocksparrow.ca. If you want to join up like I did, send them an email at info@rocksparrow.ca. And if you want to check out my Rock Sparrow merch, it's at The Walk Show. That's WOK.rocksparrow.ca. Again, that's thewalkshow.rocksparrow.ca. In any case, if you want to help out The Walk Show, please let them know that I sent you. Hey, business owners, wouldn't it be cool if I was taking this time to talk about your product or service? I've enjoyed building relationships with some very cool companies since I started this thing, and I am looking to expand the Walk Show family. I work with some great sponsors, and I've sponsored events through the podcast, so I do understand how valuable time and resources can be. If you have any interest or questions about working with the show, hit me up at thewalkshow@gmail.com. Again, that's thewalkshow, WOK, @gmail.com. I hope you're enjoying the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Now let's get back to the show. And we are back. And yeah, dude, pee breaks are just totally underrated. I mean,
they are.
They're so good. And I'm not saying they're underrated, like, nobody speaks highly of them, but they just don't speak highly enough of them, because goddamn, that was fantastic.
Yes, sir. I'm with you. That was a game changer.
So yeah,
I think that concert, sorry to cut in there, I think that concert would have been 2018. That one in Hamilton that we were talking about.
20. Okay. That makes sense. Holy hell, that was a long time ago, man. Whew. It's funny. It's also kind of funny to go like 2018 was a long time ago, Like, you remember in the 90s when we thought like by the year 2000 we were going to have like flying cars and shit?
Yeah.
And here we are, 2025, and like I feel like we're dumber,
Oh, for sure. I feel like it's like Idiocracy, that movie, if you've ever seen it. It's just we're all drinking Sprite now, or what is it? Sprite, Mountain Dew? What are they drinking?
Yeah, Mountain Dew or Brondo or Bondo and they're feeding all the plants this shit that that movie's fantastic, and I need
to rewatch that one for sure.
I want to, but I'm almost afraid to, because I feel like it might just be depressing at this point.
Too on the nose, too real.
Yeah, and that was Mike Judge too, right? I want to say that was Mike Judge.
Yeah, it was.
Dude is just incredibly on the nose, man. It's funny.
Yeah,
it's funny and tragic. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's only tragic with how things have panned out, I guess, but...
Yeah, and I suppose he can always kind of reel it back, but holy hell, man. It just seems like I jump online sometimes, and I try not to be too online, but you kind of have to be when you're constantly pushing something like a podcast or a band. I mean,
totally.
And oh man, like you just read something and you're just like, there's no way anybody actually believes this. Like you're fishing for clicks, right? Like you have to be. There's no way a reasonable person would go, oh yeah, that makes sense.
I find Facebook to be the wildest for it too. Like there's so many people who it's like, do you not realize we can all read this? Everyone can read this. This is public now.
Yeah.
Your employer can read this. Like, it's madness on Facebook. As I'm looking at Facebook right now to figure out when that show was.
Yeah, I don't know. I got back onto, X, Twitter.
That's my guilty pleasure. It's terrible.
Dude, it is just absolute doom scrolling, man. It is a fucking toilet.
It is a toilet. It's a cesspool.
Oh my God. And now I remember why I got the hell off. And, I'm not, commenting on, Elon or whatever the hell. I'm just, because it was always a toilet as far as I'm concerned. And I got off years ago because of that. But I remember when it first came out and it was so awesome because you could find out about sports trades before Sportsnet talked about it,
Yep. Yep. And I remember when I was living in Toronto, I loved Twitter because it would tell me about road closures or subway closures before anywhere else would. Breaking news on Twitter. It was like, oh, I love this. And then it truly, it's again, the movie we were talking about, it doesn't seem real when you're on there, but it's real, I guess.
Yeah. It almost sounds like, and I suppose this could be its own podcast. I try not to go down too many socio-political rabbit holes, but I will say left, right, and center, it seems like it's fashionable to be a total fucking sociopath these days.
Yeah.
And that's just there's no moral compass anymore. It's just kind of my team good, your team bad. I always kind of equate it to
and the more extreme, if you're, whichever way you're leaning, it seems people go to the extreme with it where they can't find middle ground with anyone. And then it's holy fuck, this is tough. This is tough.
It's wild, man. I always equate it to baseball where your pitcher checks the runner on first and it's all right, good man. And then bottom of the inning that the next guy does it and you're oh, boo.
Yeah.
It's fine because that's sports and it's harmless. But when it comes into real life, holy fuck, man, that's crazy.
I know. And it's everywhere right now. It's
just wild. Yeah. So I feel like I owe the listeners a story here. We were talking about hard drugs just before the break. And I swear to God, we were on tour together and some dude started lobbing rocks into the parking lot when we were loading our gear out. And the guy was definitely high on something because I'm not going to name names, but somebody ended up pounding on him with a skateboard. And other things just to get him to fuck off. And he just kept getting back up. It was like Night of the Living Dead, man.
Well, and even because the police ended up getting involved by the end of that. And even the police were he's on meth, or they immediately thought he was on methamphetamines because he got hit with a skateboard. He got hit back with a brick.
Yeah.
I remember it turned horribly violent when he was lobbing them at the vehicles, and then he ended up hitting, I want to say, one of the guitar players in Riviera Heist? Were
Yeah.
they on that tour? Yeah.
Yeah.
And like broke his foot.
Oh,
We had to go to the hospital that night. Yeah. Like it turned into this whole ordeal. But that guy took a skateboard to the head, a 2x4, I remember. Somebody hit him with a 2x4.
I also remember somebody like doing something with one of the, like, you know, those municipal garbage. Like, they kept like ramming it into him or something. And it seems like, it seems violent, and it was, but it was like, dude, we're just trying to get you to leave us alone. Yeah.
I mean, it was very violent. And there was so much, back in the day, there was too much of that at a lot of those hardcore meets metal shows. Like, that seemed to kind of go hand in hand. But without naming names again, I remember like the smallest guy in our camp, like, was he the smallest? He was a little guy. Ended up getting on top of him and was just feeding him shots. And the guy was like smiling through it. And that's when I remember being like, I don't want to be involved in this at all.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's wild, dude.
Where was that? Stouffville?
Yes. Yeah, it absolutely was, man. Actually, it's funny because Brent from Arise and I were just talking about that the other day. And yeah, he brought up Stouffville for some other reason. And I was like, where is that? And he's like, dude, you remember the place when all that, you know, oh, okay. That's Stouffville. So
that tour was crazy because I remember that being a bit of a turning point for us because like all the shows were really good on that tour. But like a lot of them were borderline out of control because they were still in like halls instead of proper venues.
Right.
I remember that being a bit of a turning point. I think we played Stouffville on that run. Did we also play a Newmarket show too?
Yeah, and I want to say, I think so. And I think it was this giant gym or something. And it was one of those shows like every goddamn show back then where there's like 11 bands and it's something fest or some, you know.
Yes.
And
I think Life Ruiner played that show.
Okay. That makes sense, man. Because yeah, that was definitely a band. Oh man, there was some violent shit going on in their pits. And I was like, I was old. Like I feel like I was older than a lot of the people that I toured with. And like, I didn't really get the throwing down thing. Like, look, to each their own. And like, I think people should express themselves however they want to, but you know, kind of your rights end where someone else's begin. So you can't just go like donkey kicking people like in the genitals and shit, you know?
Have you seen like the pits nowadays? Like 2025 hardcore pits?
No, not really.
They're fucking insane. Like I thought we were insane back then, but now there's this thing where they just call it crowd killing.
Oh yeah.
And they run around and just pound people on the tops of their heads throughout the whole. And I love hardcore. It's probably one of the music styles I listen to the most. And I do like to go to a hardcore show here and there, but I have to stay so far away from that pit. It's like anxiety inducing to me now. And it's like, I feel for the people who get caught in the middle of it now, especially if it's someone who's kind of unaware, they don't know what they're getting themselves into. Like that sucks. And I don't think that's good for a scene that doesn't, if that's somebody's first show they've ever been to that with hardcore bands and they get punched in the face, like.
Well, yeah, it's fucked, man. And I feel like a lot of bands, even back when we were doing, a lot of touring, there were bands that were or I don't want to say the bands were doing it, but some of the people were in bands that were doing it. But certainly the fan base for some of these bands were doing some of that crowd killing shit even way back then. It just wasn't nearly as common.
Yeah, no,
celebrated.
You're right.
And to me, it's just like it's such a fucking bundle of mixed messaging, you know. In hardcore, where it's supposed to be all about community and family and sticking together, and then they just go like donkey kick some chick in the box. It's like, dude, what the fuck?
I completely agree. And then at the same time, like if you bring up that, I watched this happen on Facebook recently. When you bring up the toxicity in that culture, you get shit on by the hardcore community. Like they don't want to hear it. And I'm like, fuck. guess I'll just keep my mouth shut. We had a kid, he got his hand broken at our show in Edmonton. We played with pretty much all hardcore bands when we were there it was in January. Great show. But there was crowd killing, and that's how that kid broke his hand. And then he's like off work. Like, we're fucking adults now. So he's like off work, probably has to pay some medical bills, maybe. Who knows? Maybe it was all covered under everything was good, but I'm just like, what are we doing here? I don't know. Like, and then I gotta be honest, I was also on the other end of that spectrum. Like, I did mosh, never tried to be a violent mosher. But when I was on stage, sometimes I did some kind of reckless things when it came to the audience, of like the head walking, like stepping on the audience.
Right.
Definitely, I'm guilty party there. So it's like, there's something about the energy in a room of hardcore or metal or whatever you want to call it. And you're right, we all express it differently. It's like, you just got to look out for each other, though, I feel like.
Yeah, well, and I would say with the head walking thing, like, okay, I draw a distinction between that and just like full on, like, I want to punch you in the face in a mosh pit. Yeah. Like you've never struck me as a violent dude ever, man. And I don't think like you went out in that crowd with the intention to hurt people. It was just there was only ever energy.
One time. There was one time I heard a guy.
Yeah.
But he grabbed my dick on stage, like so aggressively, grabbed it. And then I was like, don't fucking do that. And he did it again. So he got the microphone right on the forehead.
Yeah.
That was the one time. Ottawa. Sean Scallon kicked him out so fast, too. He was fucking out of there.
Dude, well,
but
I call that self-defense, though, no?
It was self-defense. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that's a whole different ballgame.
Oh, those old days, though. I love that you brought up Stouffville. That's so great. I thought we were going there. There's only 2 stories that I have, and I couldn't remember if you guys were on this run. But one of the bands we were on tour with got basically banned from the venue before we even played because they got caught doing drugs in the bathroom.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I wasn't sure if it was that one because that one's like embarrassing.
Yeah.
That one's not even entertaining. Yeah, but then I was like, no, boring. He's definitely talking
did that shit. We drank a lot, but like we didn't even like, you know.
Yeah. No, we were big time potheads is what we were, especially as an active band. We were so, I don't know how we never got arrested for all the pot we brought and smoked everywhere.
Dude, it's crazy, man. I remember like we would be so squeaky clean with the border and like all that stuff. And then we knew bands that would just sail across and oh, we forgot we had a joint on the dashboard. And you made it over with no problems? Like we would get interrogated for fucking nothing. And it was just wild.
Dude, that border scared the shit out of me. It would scare me even more right now, I think. But
yeah, I gotta go over in April. I guess we're in a time machine here in terms of air date. But yeah, like towards the end of April, I got a gig in LA, and I might totally get butthole searched, man. Like it might happen.
I've heard flying from Toronto to LA, people aren't getting hassled right now with it. I got a buddy. Daniel Bray used to be like the photographer always for Holly Springs. He lives down there and he's been back and forth a couple times, I guess, and it's been fine.
Well, the beauty with Pearson is like you sort of quote unquote cross the border at that airport, right? Like you don't land and then go through customs. You go through customs before you take off, right?
Exactly. And I wonder if it's like, flying home might be another situation. I don't know, man.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I mean, I don't know. Last time I flew from LAX, it was just fine, and that was in January. But that was also before a lot of this rhetoric kind of ramped up. And I think that's all that's driving it, right? Like policy-wise, I mean, other than some tariffs, and again, I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole, but you know, we'll see what happens. We'll see how much rhetoric really kind of drives the whole experience, because I've seen some horror stories and I've also heard from credible people that a lot of it's bullshit, but I guess, you know, we'll see.
You'll never know until you try it yourself, eh?
Yeah. We'll see what happens to my butthole.
Yes. Keep me informed. Keep me informed about your probings.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, and I appreciate your concern, and you know, out there in listener land, you know, keep your ear to the ground, man. Stay tuned to the Walk Show, because you know, you never know what's going to happen to old D's butthole at the border.
This is true.
So we are going to spin a track from your latest EP, Hate Me, at the end of the chat. And I just got to say, man, it sounds incredible.
Thank you, brother.
Can we get into the recording process a little bit?
Fuck yeah.
Hell
So
yeah.
it's the first record where I it's completely in-house. We recorded, generally how we do things with this group is like I do demoing at home and then I'll stem it out, the multi-tracks, and bring that up to Regina where the rest of the band is. I've lived down in Weyburn. I live in a small town. And so it'll have everything kind of there. And then we'll delete out my fake drums and my drummer will start cracking away at it. So my guitar player's the engineer and he mixes it too. I do some of the tracking. I do all the vocal tracking and mixing, but it's a team effort on that end. We recorded everything. I mean, pretty old school in the sense of, like all the drums and everything is real. There's a layer of a sample on our snare drum, I think. I'm not even 100% sure. But it's really sweet because we all go in there, we record our parts, and then me and Danton, the guitar player, we just kind of, the two of us sit there and get the final sound. And then we have a guy in Regina that also does the mastering for us. So it's like a totally local thing going on. It's really fucking cool. And I've never been able to spend so much time in a studio and have that freedom, like in a real studio.
That rules, man. And yeah, I mean, it definitely comes out like it sounds awesome. It's innovative. Like it's such a cool project, man. Like, is it sort of your solo project? I know it's, it's got your name in the title, but are you hiring freelance musicians or is it more of a collaborative effort?
It's a collaborative effort. I mean, the whole reason we kept my name in it, and to begin with, it was a bit of the former or the latter. How it all came together is I put out an EP called Fake Friends, like right before pandemic hit. And I got some pretty good traction with the songs and some interest of like booking shows and stuff again, but I was freshly sober, like just getting sober, right? I had a nasty alcohol addiction and I was pretty addicted to pills at that point. A lot of people don't know that, but I started to get into like Xanax and Percocets and all that stupid shit. So I was clinging on to sobriety and I was like, I cannot perform this. So I didn't take any of that seriously, focused on getting myself better, getting my life sorted out again. Finally felt like I was, in a better place to be trying to do it again. And then all the pieces to the puzzle just kind of fell into my lap. I'll be talking about this person again because they're my favorite Canadian artist. But especially right now, my friend Brandon from Chastity, I've known him forever. He used to do this like auto-tune kind of pop thing. Like I would do Dear Solace and he would do what was it called? Hometown Beatdown. So I've known him forever. And he was booking a Regina show and he just, like him and his agent reached out to me, Chris Gagan, who's been booking stuff forever. I have
not heard for a long time.
And he works at Paquin artist agency now. Like he's got a big roster.
Damn.
I think he's like did the Misery Signals. I think he books like Comeback Kid and shit. Like he's doing awesome. So I have to pretty much thank those two guys for kind of getting me back in mode. They hit me up and they were like, we'd love to do some dates. We really want you to headline Regina. And I'm like, wow, I don't think I want to like debut this as a headliner, but they talked me into it. So that inspired me to get a band together. And like right around the same time, I can't remember if I posted a video or something of some of the new music I was working on, but this group of guys that I'm working with in Regina, they just kind of popped into my inbox. Like they're guys that have I've played with, like, they were in other bands for, God, like almost 20 years, but none of us have ever been in a band together. And they all just were kind of like, especially my drummer, Matt, and Riley, my guitar player. They're just like, hey, if you want to play shows, I'd love to learn those songs off of Fake Friends and, you know, see where it goes. So, like, in the beginning, it was just, I got a group of 4 guys with me. We learned my old songs. We played a gig and it went really well. Like, there was a good turnout. We sounded awesome. And that inspired us to, like, get in the room with the new stuff that I'd been working on. But so it started out as I, like, you know, hired guns. We'll do this one show. And now it's like, we're all cooking. We're all cooking in the kitchen.
That's awesome. But everyone's on the same page, seemingly, right? Like, there's...
Yeah. It's pretty cool because, like, I've never been in a band where everybody is open about their strengths and at the same time open about what they want nothing to do with, which I think bands need to talk about more. You know, like, if you expect, especially when you're like, damn, I'm 39 right now. If you're expecting things of people that is just not in their wheelhouse, you're not only going to make them, like, if you're like, you have to post on Instagram every week or blah, blah, blah. That person's not only going to resent that action, but they're going to spend less time doing what they love and what their actual strengths are for the group. So that's been a healthy relation. I mean, I'm fucked to work with in a band. I know I am, because I very much write like a whole song before I even bring it to anyone. So it took time for kind of all of us to figure out, like, how we go about it and how they tame. I mean, we're pretty open with each other. Like, they've told me it's like every really good band, every awesome project usually has a creative force behind it. And that creative force is generally a maniac in some sense, you know, like,
true.
So that we're all very comfortable in talking about that. And it's been like, thank God I went through recovery to learn more about my ego and separating myself from my ego before trying to do a band again, because I'm tough enough to deal with now at my best. And I know how I used to be. Like, I know why Holly Springs didn't work out. It was the craziest thing is the reason why Holly Springs didn't work out is because none of us were talking about mental health at all with each other. You know,
nobody did.
Some addiction,
then, man.
No one, none of us did. Hey, like, at all.
Yeah.
Depression was going on, anxiety was going on, and there was drug addiction and you know, alcoholism going on
everywhere you go. And I don't know about you guys, we had a fucking Jagger endorsement. Like, it was brutal.
We never got we never got an alcohol endorsement, but it was on our rider from very early. Like, whatever, 24 beer and a fucking 2.6.
Yeah. Of
whiskey every night. And if you're gone for 3 months, I was somebody who did it every night.
Oh, me too, man. Yeah.
And eating mushrooms and fucking smoking weed all day. Like, it was a wild ride. And it's like, if only instead of me quitting the band, we could have taken a break. Everyone go home and fucking figure out what's going on and what's making you unhappy. You know? Yeah. Nobody's good at their job when you're unhappy.
Well, exactly. But the problem with being unhappy and just, and substance is you can sometimes convince yourself that you're not unhappy artificially, right? I mean, I think you and I have fairly similar backgrounds in terms of, you know, how much we drank on tour and, you know, both being sober guys, man. But I know for me, like, I actually much rather play sober. In retrospect, like, did it take a lot to kind of get over that hump? And do you have a preference these days?
It took I was very nervous the first time going back to performing, being sober. But after the first time, it was kind of just like I just tore that Band-Aid off because it felt so good that first night. And the saddest part for me is that I don't remember a lot of those concerts.
Yeah.
That I played with Holly Springs. Like, I truly don't remember being on stage. That's a sad thought. Not having to go and watch a video. Like, I have to go watch a video on YouTube to remember.
Yeah.
What it was like on stage. Because, it's just too much, man. And like, not that it's sad to say, I don't regret it though. Because I don't think a guy like you or a guy like me would be where we are today without having lived that portion of our lives.
Oh, absolutely, dude. Like, there's no way I had the ego to be like, yeah, I can fucking step behind this kit in front of like all these people and, bring the house down. Like, hell no, man. I would have been shitting my pants. Every show.
And those early days too, where you're, everything involves that. You don't know how many people are going to be at the show. You don't know if anyone even likes your band in that town. Like you're nervous all the time, or I was. So it's just easy. Get to the show, fucking crack open the Pilsners and
yeah,
get at her.
Yeah, definitely.
But no, I definitely prefer it this way now, though. Being able to remember things.
See, I think that's fantastic that you made that leap, dude, especially as a vocalist, man, because you're sort of like, you're the guy where you're, like, it's like your dick's hanging out, like you're bearing your soul to this audience and like, whereas I'm hiding behind a drum kit most of the time, man. So it's not the same, right?
I hear you. So I think that feeds into it a lot. Like, and I think that's where singers also get the hate. Either from their band or from a scene or a community. It's because you are put, even if you don't want to be, you're put in a pedestal because you're on the front. You're always at the front of the stage as a singer. And it like creates this whole, it's either a blessing or a curse. And in the early days, it truly feels like a curse most nights where you're like, oh my God, I want to hide behind something. And nothing easier to hide behind than a bottle of liquor.
Yep. Yeah.
But I don't like hiding anymore. I like that moment I'm at one with myself when I'm on stage now for sure.
Well, it's liberating, It's liberating to be able to kind of have your cake and eat it too. Go back into those old glory days of, ripping an awesome show, and to be able to do it comfortable in your own skin, and sober, man. I love it.
Yeah, it's truly a blessing.
Sorry, you go ahead, brother.
I was just gonna say I'm so excited to go out and do it again here, and I got gigs booked in April and May, so it's like, oh yes,
dude. Absolutely rules, man. And I just feel like it's such a success story. Yeah, honestly, man, I could do this all day, but I probably should put a pin in it soon. So I just want to ask you a couple of quick questions. And then we can plug the socials and the sites and all that good stuff. I do ask the listeners a question every episode. I like to get my guests' take too. I feel like we touched on it a little bit, but today's question is, what is your favorite Canadian band or artist?
Okay. So I have trouble doing like a singular, a one and only thing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do a little. So when I was a little kid, my favorite Canadian artists were Bare Naked Ladies and Tragically Hip. I fucking loved both of them.
Hell yeah.
And then as a teenager, it would be Propagandhi. When Alexis on Fire first hit, kind of changed my whole view on Layaway Plan from Moose Jaw, another band that like changed me. And then currently though, Chastity, I love his records. I love his artistic direction that he's done with everything. He's got such an eye for it. Really love a band called Arm's Length. They're from out in Ontario somewhere, I believe. And then there's like all these hardcore bands and like just punk bands out here that a lot of people maybe haven't been exposed to yet, but they're so fucking good. Band like Green Wing from Saskatoon. Band like fucking dude, there's some hardcore bands out here. Like a band from Regina called Criminal Mind. They're just nuts. They have a female vocalist and like the biggest like beefy tough guy hardcore background vocalist. It's really fun. And yeah, there's just so many good bands in Canada right now. Like every province has multiple heavy hitters, you know, and like smaller artists and bigger artists. It's really cool. There's like a scene starting again, or not. I don't know if it really ever went anywhere, but I'm being exposed to it again.
That's cool. Yeah,
I gave so many artists there, but whatever.
No, that's fantastic. I mean, the more the merrier.
Yeah.
And lots for people to check out. And selfishly, I ask things like this because I'm looking for things to check out. So that's great.
Yeah.
What's on the docket for this year? I know you got some shows coming up.
We got shows with Calling All Captains from Edmonton in April. We're doing a Alberta run. We've been hitting Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba pretty hard just because it's easy to still have a day job and then head out for your weekend warrior stuff doing that out here. So that's in April. In May, we've got the Unearth show, and I'm doing an acoustic show in Moose Jaw. That'll be interesting. I haven't done that. That's a new one. I'm actually nervous about that one.
Dude, that rules.
And then in summer, I've got some stuff booked that I can't announce yet because I haven't got the go ahead to announce it yet. But some cool stuff. I'm coming your way in the summer. It looks
Beautiful.
like late summer.
Dude, that's it's funny because I think I'm coming your way late summer too. So hopefully I'm here when you are, man.
Yes, I hope vice versa.
Is there anyone you want to take this opportunity to give a shout out to?
I kind of already did, but like Chris Gagan and Chastity and my band right now for just getting me back into this and giving me an opportunity. Even these shows with Calling All Captains, it trickles back to Chastity and Chris kind of passing our name on to the Calling All Captains booking agent. And now Matt with, who's he with? Atomic Music Group. He's booked us now for like 7 gigs. So although that whole crew, I couldn't be doing it without I'm just a singer. So I need promoters, I need booking agents, and I need bands that rip. So those people.
Dude,
and my fucking wife. What am I talking about? Jesus Christ. Got to shout out my wifey. She puts up with all my shit.
Yeah, dude, I hear that loud and clear, man. I'd be nowhere without my wife who puts up with all my shit. It's funny.
Still allows us to live our dreams. Yay!
Exactly, man. And it's funny you mentioned Calling All Captains. I just opened for them at the Casbah, I feel like late last year, but I was on a sprained foot and on crutches, so it wasn't my best performance. Let's just say that.
They're such a good live band. Such great dudes too.
100%, man. How can people check out what you're doing online?
I'm kind of terrible with all that stuff. What is my Instagram? Go Instagram, not low Mike Froh. That's where I kind of strictly post music and shows and all that on there. And then I've got a personal Instagram that's kind of become the Mike Froh and the bad news one. So that's Instagram. What is it? Mike.Froh. Those are the best places to I'm most active on Instagram. I don't even really like Facebook anymore. And like a YouTube, I think it's under Not Low Music, which is kind of the record label that I've been putting stuff out on for a few years now. It's just something I run myself with a few friends, and look for those things. Come to a show.
Very cool. And it looks like we can't spill the beans on all the dates, but it looks like there's going to be lots of opportunity for people to come out and see you.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. The last
Thank
thing
you for having me on the show, man. I love it. I love it.
Dude, my pleasure, man. Thank you for making time and for being part of episode 200, man. I just thought, it's a special episode, and who better to have on for that?
I appreciate it, man. It's awesome.
Hell yeah, dude. The last thing I do is spin 2 tunes. First up is Mike Froh and the Bad News featuring Blake Prince with Over Ag the Pudding, followed by today's double feature preacher artist Vida with Welcome to Graceland. And yeah, shout out to Vida. Those guys fucking rule. Mr. Mike Froh.
I'll have to check them out.
Dude, definitely check out Vida if you haven't. VIDA. I think you'll love it, dude.
I'm going to check it out as soon as we're done here.
Hell yeah, man. Dude, thanks so much for your time, man. It's been amazing.
No problem, brother. It was good catching up with you.
100%, dude. And to the listeners, thank you so much for your time. Catch you next time.
Confusion, which is one from the other. Does it